We ain't even going live right now.
You said we're not going live, right?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Mick on the Move with everybody's favorite co-host, Keisha. Baby. She's not live with us today. It's just going to be the fellas tonight.
Shout out, Keith.
Shout out, Keisha, baby. We're waiting for a couple more of the fellas that's coming through the door now, so we'll get started shortly.
Yeah. You gonna play some music? You gonna sing? What you gonna do?
Yeah, you can't because. What's going on again, fellas? Everybody got their drink. Where did you get your water?
Nah.
Let me get.
You left it sitting up there.
Yeah, my bad, bro. Stop instigating,
You didn't want
Bobby.
that.
Bobby's
You
world.
didn't
Stop instigating Bobby's
want a
world.
sipper?
See?
You did? You didn't want to sip on?
No, I'm good.
What's in that? Just simply lemonade.
You said what?
What's in the simply lemonade?
Simply lemonade.
Oh, you lost the top.
Nope.
Oh.
I traveled with it on Saturday, and I just put that around it just in case anything. Again, what's going on, everybody? The comments are popping already, but what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Make on the Move with everybody's favorite co-host, Keith Sabebe. Keith is not with us tonight. As we wrap up the discussion, Black men stop dating until you've done the work to heal yourselves. So she's going to be our 12th man in the comments section tonight. I think she's going live from her IG and maybe taking in some of the questions and everything. But again, for those that are on IG, we support you all through Keisha's page. We support you all coming over here, subscribing to the channel and going live with the discussion. We have a whole lot to unpack today, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Quick introduction of everybody. To my right, I got my brother-in-law, Rome, here. Say what's up, Rome.
Hey, what's going on?
Then I got my cousin, Bobby, to my left, right here, B.
Hey, yo. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. I don't see no likes on there. Put the thumbs up. Let's go ahead.
Appreciate it. Thank you for that. Yes, and everybody's favorite. Nate, bro. Everybody loves Nate. Everybody, we wait to hear what Nate has to say. The train operator, the train conductor. Go ahead, Nate.
Nate the regulator.
Nate the regulator.
I got it here.
All right, cool. So, we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. So, the topic again that we're wrapping up on tonight is Black men stop dating until you've done the work to heal yourselves. And before we jump into it, I do want to say someone that asked me, did I mean like Black men don't date? Like you telling Black men not to date at all? And after I sat there and listened to this narrative that was created that they had for me. They asked me the question, but then they had this whole narrative that they had created to why I did tell Black men to stop dating. But after all of that, my takeaway from it was to one, give him an answer, and then to also, if he was misconceived by that, then to put it out there what my whole desire and intention was behind this topic. And it's not to tell anyone, especially Black men, to not do something. It's to say, if you're out there dating and if you're doing more damage than good, stop. It's just like you would tell anyone else that is trying something that they're constantly fucking up. It's not to say, Leah says it best, try again, but try it again in another fashion. Step away, go heal, and then come back. Some of the greats in the Bible, I believe I mentioned before, Paul, Christ himself, Abraham, they all took a step away from the flock. Moses went, and sorry I said Abraham, but I meant Moses. Moses went up to the mountain. Moses said, I got to get away from these niggas. Wow. Like, they are stressing me. And then Christ was on his road to Damascus. Over with the Europeans, how they are, So he had that exit stage left, and then Christ over in the good old East, homeland. So, he had to step away in the Garden of Gethsemane to process what he was dealing with. So again, it's to encourage, the fellas to stop dating until you've done the work to heal yourselves. If it's constantly bringing strife to not only just others but yourself, if you're finding that you're frustrated about everything, that's an internal solution. That's an internal solution right there, because you're triggered. You're triggered by things. So I have this notion or this theory where I believe that it begins with you and it ends with you. So, and it's not about mastering anyone else but yourself and conquering, because once you understand and you go within, then your next level is God's spirit. And that's when they say once you meet God, you can't unsee, the potential. And that's what Moses did. He met his higher self to the point where he came down a different man. So his head changed colors. And Paul on the road to Damascus, like his eyes, he became a new, and that's what it means by it. It means that once you elevate to that place, but you have to put the work in. So, I said a whole lot right there, and I want to keep the conversation going, but I know last week was supposed to be our final episode, but a couple of the fellas, and I'm pointing over here at my brother-in-law, Rome, because Rome was like, yo, like there was some stuff that I wanted us to continue discussing. Some things that we touched on, but because of the time and because of the audience that we just didn't have a chance to finish, and some things that we did not touch on. So, Rome, I'm gonna open it up to you, bro. I know that you had a few questions that you dropped in our personal thread, but can you begin the discussion with one of them? And first we can chime in. And you all out there in YouTube land, please chime in the comments, subscribe, and go live in the discussion with us.
Yeah. My first thing was, as broken men, why do we get in relationships with broken women? And that from my perspective is, you, like you said, if you don't heal yourself, you constantly see the same outcome of generations of, some dude dating a girl, the relationship ain't going right, you know what I'm saying? Then they raise the kids, you know what I'm saying? And that shit don't go right. So I'm saying I'm tripping over my words.
No, you go take your time, bro.
With that being said, because I know of people personally in my life, you know what I'm saying, that I constantly see, and I've seen, broken men deal with broken women, and then the kids are broken, and it's just like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, the cycle continues. So it's like, to me, it's like then you're giving the politicians more fuel to the fire, because then they got reasons to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, look at what was going on. A lot of kids coming from broken homes, broken parents, you know what I'm saying? The shooting and the killing and the constant BS that happens. So it's like, at what point do somebody actually realize and sit down like, man, look, something fucked up and this ain't right? You know what I'm saying? Like, how can we better ourselves, especially if we, you know what I'm saying? If the people before us, and not like above us, but I'm talking about like my grandmother, you know what I'm saying, who came up in the Jim Crow era, and people with that, where black people actually stuck together. You know what I'm saying? They always trying to like downplay us, like, oh, we can't get it together, we can't never do right. You know what I'm saying? But if we always systematically being tore down, you know what I'm saying, at what point, now our generation is just like, okay, so we need to get our shit together, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like I said, dealing as broken men, we another two broke motherfuckers can't, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. So it's just, so I feel like us as men, go ahead. Now I feel like us as men, you know what I'm saying, we're the leaders, you know what I'm saying, and we're the head of the household, and that's why I put also like, are we still the patriarchy, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like nowadays it's getting torn from us, and we're letting women run the show. And not saying that a woman can't run the show, you know what I'm saying? But let's be honest, they think emotionally, they don't think logic, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, that's you. You about to say, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of times it's like, and like I said, I'm not knocking women saying they can't hold it down or whatever the situation may be, but it's
like, y'all like, y'all do it all.
Yeah, y'all don't. You feel me? And it's just like women, I feel like men, like we play our role, we're tough, we're built for certain things. You know what I'm saying? And they're not. And like I said before, if it's half and half, but I guess nowadays, you know, like I said, I see a lot of BS going on. Like I said, a lot of broke men, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like, who's going to be the first one to step up to the plate and, you know what I'm saying, realize that this shit is fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You said a lot, and there's a lot to unpack there. But before I go on with any questions, do you all have anything?
I actually not, because I remember last time. I don't remember what time y'all ended
Right.
last week.
Mhm.
I had to split a little earlier, so I apologize. I didn't get to check my rest of it, like what it was on my list.
No, it's all good. We just want to jump into what he was talking about right here. Nate, you have anything?
So his question. This is just me. I don't speak for anybody else myself. I feel as if the reason why you got an individual who is to the question to the question again.
I said, why do broke men deal with broke women?
So the reason why is because I wouldn't say they deal with broke women. I feel like men who are broken will sit there and try to find something to get over what they just went through. You know what I'm saying? And in that process, because they're broken, they eternally start tearing down their partner. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think I'm not gonna say all, but I don't think a person's intention is to say, oh, I know she's in the dump, so let me go talk to her.
Right.
You know, I feel like a man, what it does is, because the way that when we get hurt deep. You know what I'm saying? And we don't get over it fast. But a way for us to show that we're not hurt, oh, let me go to the next one.
Yeah.
But we're still hurt.
Yeah.
And then with the next one we go to might be a good woman, but we start doing that fuck shit that then starts to hurt that woman that we're talking to and dealing with.
Right.
Which in turn, she starts to become broken because now she's dealing with all the nonsense that individual is giving to her.
Right.
And she's sticking it out for whatever reasons. Oh, she loves him. She's sticking out with him as he's constantly doing stuff to tear her down, not build her up. You know? So that's like I said, I don't think we go directly for a broke individual. We break people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that is something that needs to stop because like you said it perfect. It starts breaking down when it comes through the generations. You know what I'm saying? So nowadays generations is you have a single mother raising a man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is not easy for a woman to do because there's certain things that a woman can't teach a young man. You know what I'm saying? So while she's trying to do the best she can, he's gonna be getting information fed to his ears from other directions, which in turn is people he hanging out with, things like that, which and then turns sideways. And now the mom can't do nothing to bring him back right because he's already out there. The pop's not in the picture.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, yes, I don't think that broke people shoot for broke people. No. I feel like a broke person breaks another person.
It's a matter of who it is you're around, I guess. A dog can't date nobody else that's down on the same level it is at. So if you're at that same level, if you're already broken and you're trying to find somebody else, you can't. I can't be broken and down in the dumps or whatever from a relationship I got with her and go try to holler at Beyonce or Ashanti or something like that and expect to be, yeah, she about to upgrade me and step into that. No, she's already where she needs to be in life or whatever. Not get ready to try to accept any nonsense. So you're gonna try to deal with what you can deal with, maybe. That's could be one of the reasons people might deal with somebody who's broken. But you don't really know what person's broken until you actually get to learn that person as well. But then again, if you don't know, like you're saying, don't date until you're here. You're ready to be dating yourself. You can't be trying to. You can't help nobody. You can't help yourself. There's a bitch always used to say that. Can't help nobody unless you help you. I can't help myself. Can't help nobody else. Walking around with that daggone sign. You're not ready to be able to jump into these relationships. You shouldn't be trying to do that. Just stay where you at. Make sure you straight first. Then try to find somebody else. And if they not there, you could possibly help them out. But that's not your job. It's on everybody else's part to actually be able to get their own daggone healing. It's because whatever it is you're going through, I might not have been through it. I might know somebody who's been through it, but it could be a whole different situation for you or whatever to be able to try to handle that situation. I can encourage you through it. I can kind of help you through it, but I'm not there to try to fix you and make you better. That's not your job. It's nobody's job in a relationship.
Absolutely. And I was just thinking prior to this discussion earlier how the balance is off. The balance is off. And I don't mean in your house, in your household, so don't take offense. We good over here. But the balance in the world is off. I think that there's if you just follow nature, there's a respect between forces. There's a natural respect. You know, that's why when the sun comes up, the moon goes down. And we see both, it's like a phenomenon. Yeah, oh my gosh, like, because there's a respect. There's the ocean and then there's the shore. You know, the water don't overtake the land unless there's something going on internally that's not right, that's bringing about this destruction, this chaos. Even in volcanoes, there is something on the inside that's coming from, you know, that's caused this disruption, you know. And I think that with humanity, even animals is so interesting because I often watch more male dogs than female dogs. And there are certain dogs, male dogs, who will let Nippy go eat first. Right, who taught you that, bro? Where did you learn that from? You know, and there's a response, like there's a submissive nature to her, in which she speaks to them in. You know what I'm saying? It's a respect factor there, and I think that we have, as humans, taken ourselves beyond nature, and that's who we naturally are. I think that there's this need for control and dominance. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I said, I don't need power. I just need peace. Right? You can have the power, and there's this power struggle. You know, and some people do get with other broke people. Sometimes it's to build together, and I think the Jacksons, the older couple, told us that in the season Black Love Matters, they got together not because they were broken, but at the time they were broke, and they created something. You know, it wasn't a power struggle, and no one needed power. And they were both like, you know what, we want peace, and let's figure out how we can make it happen together. You know, so I think that when you're, you know, to your question, like, why do broke people deal with broke people? I think sometimes it can be one of the factors, and in agreement with what Nate said. But one of the other factors can be, you know what? Because I think everyone desires hope in their partner. I don't think most people are getting with someone if they don't have a positive intention there. Things go left quick sometimes, and I do mean quick. And at that time, I think that both have to be accountable. Women, I'm holding you accountable. If a motherfucker ain't doing right, listen, it is not your job to heal him. It is not, you're not his parents. You're not his mama. Like, you can't speak to. Like, your job is to be his partner. Like, not anything else, not his healer, because I guarantee you that he has to do the healing himself. And I think that that's an expectation that has been placed on women, and they've carried that burden. Fuck that. Listen, if it ain't working, it ain't working. Like, don't be the only one carrying the bag, lady. Erykah Badu. Like, don't be carrying that bag, lady, because it's not your burden. You know, and if it is your burden, then, you know, that's something that you all have to figure out. My grandmother used to say, it's one thing to be a fool and only you know that you're a fool. But when everyone else knows that you're a fool, it's time to do something about it. Stop being out here telling your business. Yeah. In the older days, they didn't go and tell everything. And that can be argued because it wasn't social media, it wasn't phones, it wasn't this, but it was women who talked. Right. Women talk even back in the Bible. That's why Paul said what he said. You know, I don't even want to get into that. But that's why he said what he said. So, like, I hold the woman accountable on that. Stop staying in abusive situations. Men, stop staying in abusive situations, because men deal with abuse in relationships as well. Women in their mouths. That's abuse. That is abuse. And just the other day, I was upstairs sweeping, because y'all know that I love to sweep. So, even though I'm vacuum cleaning, my friend's like, "Why the fuck are you sweeping?" Yeah, I'll come over. But I'm upstairs sweeping, and I hear a couple out back, young couple, maybe early 20s, and they arguing, y'all. They arguing like fucking that boy. I mean, both of them screaming, but you can really hear the guy voice because he has a deeper tone, so it projects farther. And I stopped and I listened. And for those who don't stop and listen, all we're hearing is the stereotypical angry black man. And as I listened to get an understanding on whose side I was going to be on, she was dead wrong, bro. She was wrong, and from the snapshot that I was able to, make of it. But it and I don't even really want to get so much on who was right or wrong. I more so felt like I understood the young man because he appeared to be unheard. Like, you're not fucking listening. Like, and whatever he was saying, he kept saying it, and she wasn't getting it. So I think that sometimes we get this rep. We get this angry black man rep because we're expected to not have a voice and to not be physical and I'll be the first to say, don't put your fucking hands on nobody, especially a woman. Especially a woman. There's a level of control that has to be met. But I think that in order to understand that you got to still let the person be human. You're not going to do any old thing and then I can't even raise my voice. Because the moment that I raise my voice, I'm now a threat. The moment that I raise my voice, I'm now, an angry black man. But I'm expected to not even be human. It's like the extremism is not fair. There's no balance there.
They want you to be emotional, but they don't want you to be that emotional. Why are you yelling at me?
You know what I'm saying?
Emotional. This is emotion.
Like,
stop stressing me out.
And he's just like, so I think that there's this unbalance that's beginning first within us. So we feel like we have to do these things to project ourselves to because we feel like we're unheard, which is low. And so in order to get there, we catapult. And sometimes the message is missed. I care less about the fact that they were yelling and more about, like, I wonder what they're yelling about. Because both of them they felt how they felt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If there could just be this understanding and not this control, this power versus peace, struggle, then I feel like we as humans could be so much more connected with each other, with the universe. We elevate ourselves above everything. Animals, I don't know, animal, man, like what? Like, right. You really are a second-class citizen to animals. Like, so, but we have taken on that, that dominance, that power, over generations and years and ancestral and all of that. So that's why I feel like sometimes, to get back to your answer, I feel like sometimes they get together when you're both low because you can't really tear me. Maybe you can't tear me down. We can only go up from down here if it's intentional.
Let's see Keisha's notes on that. She's closest. That's her text on the side there.
All right, what's she saying? Yes, Nate. You can bring two, but you can't make. That's right. You can bring a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. Absolutely. You fellas, any questions that you brought that you wanted to talk about tonight? Again, tonight's discussion, guys, is Black Men Stop Dating Until You've Done the Work to Heal Yourselves. And we're wrapping up the series on some of the things that we didn't really get a chance to complete in discussion or some new topics that we just wanted to leave the viewers with. So, Rome gave us his. You all, anything? I'm going to pull up something as well, but I need to turn my phone back on at 7:41.
I don't got questions.
anything you wanted to leave the people with?
Brush your teeth.
As the married man here,
I don't like that he did that sitting next to me, like he's saying my breast stink or something. I'm gonna sit over here.
No,
Nah, but my breast stink.
So what you saying, Marcus? As the married man, what?
as the married man, Nate, like what would you inspire to? You're 11 years in, right?
13.
13 years in. 13 years in. What would be your recommendation to G in terms of healing? And I asked that question just to add a little bit of context to it, is because I know that we're talking about relationships and, you know, healing for relationships, but healing for any relationship, whether it be your friends, because sometimes you may mistreat those around you and you don't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? You may be broken, you may be hurt, you know, and you're hurting those around you. You may be hurting your family, you may be hurting your friends, you may be, you know, getting in relationships and hurting them. So, like, as a young man who is not dating and is going to be one day, how do you meet him at a young age and inspire him and teach him? Because like we talked yesterday, you said you can't make him do anything. But how do you inspire him to be his own individual while being raised by this one, you know, projection of life?
How do I inspire him? I inspire him by talking to him. Let him know, like, the rights and wrongs, ups and downs, everything. Well, as much, ups and downs of what I've been through personally. You know, I don't go into all the details with it because I feel like something's not age appropriate for him. But for what I went through at the tender age of 13, where he's at now, I did a lot. I can't say a lot, but I was doing things that I probably shouldn't have been doing at 13. So what I talk to my son about, I just tell him, especially when with relationships and anything like that, because he's not in them. At least I don't think he is. You know? But I tell him if he is, it's like, just understand that you must respect who you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And also not to bring shame not only on himself but the family, because when he goes down the street, he doesn't just represent himself. You know what I'm saying? He represents the whole family.
Absolutely.
So I always tell him to be cautious of his movement because G is a helper. He loves to help any and everybody, regardless of the situation, circumstance, or consequences, which he's learned from that. And I keep telling him, you can't help everybody.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
That's just the same way.
Right. But that's just him. You know what I'm saying? So I also let him know, hey, look at your family. Look, take bits and pieces from everybody in your family, because somebody's going through something or doing something that is not the best and it's not the worst, you know?
Yeah.
So I tell them, take bits and pieces from you and just let that guide you through your life. So that's some of the ways I talk to him and inspire him.
No, for sure. Anybody there?
Well,
That's what I have to do.
yeah, somebody in the bathroom, I think.
Oh, okay. Damn, I was going to ask you something. Yeah.
I got the door. I don't have a son. I was thinking on the same topic though. My son, I'd actually tell him to go ahead and just focus on his books. Focus on being a better person. Don't worry about a relationship. It's gonna come to you. You get to the point in life where it's. I don't know what, I can't remember what the ratio is right now. It's 6-1, I think, for men to women here in DC. It might be more. I don't know. It could be changing. The fact that all these women are around, the possibility of trying to be with one, be with this one, be with that one. If you focus on what it is you need to be doing in life, just keep taking your path. If you got a goal, something that you want in your life, you want to be a pilot, whatever it is you're trying to do, you be a doctor, you're going to do this, do that. Focus on that. Don't worry about these girls. Don't worry about none of these women. I would tell my daughter the same thing, and I know she's gonna be the attention. She's gonna be the topic. She's gonna be somebody. Everybody gonna be in her face. She'll be tall, pretty, light-skinned girl, and I'm gonna have my shotgun be ready for it, whatever the case is. But that's, if I had a son there, I'd definitely tell him that. Focus on your books. Don't worry about the relationship stuff like that. That's gonna come. It's either gonna come or it's not gonna come. For everybody to want to be in a relationship is the weird thing. I don't know where that happened in life. I don't know when. for any of you all where you decided you thought like I want to be in a relationship too, if it was, and why you would have thought so? Was it because you saw your parents, or you saw somebody else, your brother, your big brother and sister, whatever? They got somebody to be with. You said I want to be with somebody too, because you saw the same thing. You saw somebody else riding down the street in a nice whip or whatever. You saw the whip. I want that. You saw this house. That's my house right there. I want that house.
Oh yeah, that's one of my
You,
questions.
that's one of the things people you can focus on these things, but in the relationship, then why is a relationship so necessary for people to actually have, especially at young ages? Because you rush into a relationship, you're definitely possibly able to rush into something you don't need to be into.
Mm-hmm. Teaching is understanding is a distraction, like understanding all things. You know, what's up, you? Understanding that, you know, when you explain relationships, and for my brother PJ, PJ, we're on the topic of Black men stop dating until you've done the work to heal yourselves. So I think understanding, and to Bobby's point and to Nate's point, just talking to them and understanding that transparency is so important, yo. I know that, you know, we want to encourage love and people to understand love and relationships and all of that, but teaching them the balance between it, that things are going to get rough, that things are going to be tough. But if you desire to make this work, then these are the steps that you have to do. You know what I'm saying? And again, those begin with you and they end with you. Understanding that I'm 42 and I realize relationships are distractions. They're not only distractions, but they are distractions. We can't take away from that. And when we do, we create this false narrative to the younger generation or to whoever. You know, you have to, and that's the thing of balance. That's balance. That's balance. Not being all in. Right? That's dangerous, actually. And I don't mean being all in. Like, of course, if you're committed to anything, commit to it. But don't submerge yourself in it to the point where you're drowning from it. You're dying from it just to be in it, just to have it, just to say I have. You know, I have I have friends that I have friends that are in relationships and marriages, and when they go through stuff that is arguably stuff that they know fucking better than to be going through it. But guess what? You got your wife, you got your husband, you got your title, you got the thing that you wanted. So what you complaining about for now? You want a husband. Well, you got a husband that just so happens to be a human, that just so happens to deal with things, that just so happens in the same with women. You know, dude, you got your butt. She slick out her mouth, but you got your wife, bro. She spent too much, but you got your wife, bro. You know, whatever she is and whatever he is, you know. And I think that, like, so understanding that answer is really within you. If this is something that you want, understand the balance between the two. Understand the balance between the two. So, anyone else? PJ, I know you just walked into this topic, bro. Anything you want to chime in with on that? In the comment, the question was, what are you leaving your sons with? You know, Nate has a son. So what would you teach your son about the importance of healing before he moves on to any type of relationship?
I guess I would start with just teaching them just, you know, understanding himself and for themselves and knowing what they want out of life and just taking time to really get to the core of that, because when you don't know what you really want, you just accept anything. And like they say, you stand for, you know what I mean, you don't stand for anything, you won't fall for everything. So I just want them and let them know that they got to be, you know, they have to be mindful of once they get back into another situation that it comes with a lot, and you won't have to, you know, learn how to compromise, and you won't have to learn how to stand your ground as well. So, you know, you don't ever want to be, you know, the beta in your situation if you can help it. You know, of course, your woman is always going to kind of lead in a way, but you're the man, so you're going to lead. So you just got to take time to put yourself in that. I tell them take time to put your mind in that perspective. Get yourself together and get yourself to a space where you're comfortable with where you are in your life, and everything else will fall into place.
I just thought about something because my dad he wasn't actually around to teach me a whole lot growing up, but I learned a lot from him. So the wonder with that when you all got kids, it's like what is it? I hear what it is you're teaching your kids and how it is you want to teach. What is it you're teaching them that you don't know, that you don't realize? What is it you think you're teaching them that you don't realize that they're learning?
That's a good question.
By watching how it is how you react to certain things or whatever the case is. Because I learned so much from my father from that one. The stuff that I should do and shouldn't do.
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. You all, I don't know if you heard that question, but Bobby was asking, what do you believe that you're showing and teaching your kids without even speaking or saying anything? How are they watching you and learning from you? What's that thing that you think that you're leaving them with? For the parents, for the dads.
Well, I will say my situation is different because I'm not around my kids. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying what they see now is they see their mother raising them. You know what I'm saying? And what they also see is that I'm not there in the picture. I'm not there because I don't want to be there. I'm there because they don't see her pushing me away. You know what I'm saying? So they look up to their older brother. You know what I'm saying? And I got 3 boys, and they all got older brothers. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 different baby mothers, but they all take, you know what I'm saying? And nobody, no father figure or anything in their life. They just have their older brothers to look up to. And with that being said, they, like I said, they might see old dad might pop up every now and then, you know what I'm saying? And don't think nothing of it. But once they get older, they're going to wonder, like, well, what's going on? But they don't see me constantly fighting their mothers, or not physically, but you know what I'm saying, going through the BS just to be there. And they like, you know what I'm saying? So as far as that my biggest fear, to be honest, was for them not to grow up like me, fatherless. You know what I'm saying? But I just chose fucking with the wrong women. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I fuck with the right women. I just made bad decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like in that situation, I try my best. You know what I'm saying? I might not get to them now, but you know my ultimate goal is to get to them in the future, so I can show them. You know what I'm saying? Even with my current girlfriend, you know, they might not see me and their mother together, but I want to show them this is what it's like. This is how it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? And this is the way.
Absolutely. And I agree. I just want to expand on that a little bit. Just going through those trials and tribulations, and I mean, they gotta understand. I mean, at some point, you gotta have that conversation with them and tell them, you know, even though you're not able to be there as often as you would like to be, there are sacrifices that are being made, especially on your behalf, to be able to, you know, still be a part of their life and contribute to it in a way that can be beyond just being there. You know, of course, that day to day is always a better thing, but you know, you don't want to, you know, feel bad about it or guilt trip yourself out of it. You know, just try to have the strongest relationship you can have with them, and hope that they can see that you're trying to be a better man than, you know. I mean, not to say that your father might not have been a better man or good man. He just, you know, everybody has a situation, so you know, we just got to work through those situations and work together as a family.
For sure.
Uncle Nate.
No, go ahead.
What I show my son is the same thing that my father showed me growing up. You know what I'm saying? Is that you show him pretty much how to take care of the household. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say run the house and sound like, you know what I'm saying? But like, you show them the ins and outs, that what you got to do throughout the day and what's the cause and effect of that. You know what I'm saying? So my dad, military, 21, 22
Been through all.
years, and my mother never worked. So when my dad bringing home the paycheck and doing what he's doing, I seen that side of, okay, taking care of home. You know what I'm saying? The man brings home the bacon. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he also showed me, he said, never sleep on what your mother does, because your mother's doing more for you than what I am. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, when you come home, who's here for you? My mom. Okay, who's cooking the meals for you? My who's disciplining you? I was like, both y'all.
He's like, fat.
But he's like, no, but it's your mother. You know what I'm saying? So for my son, I let him know that it's two sides to this coin.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that way when he does move forward and gets into his relationship, things like that, he'll understand that everybody plays a certain role. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I hope he's getting from me.
You gotta equip them too, man. Point out when he's trying to play you against T,
Oh no
so
doubt.
that we point that out to him. So when he gets older, he can actually see that. And like, I know
Oh,
what
he
you trying to
does.
do. Cause you trying to do. I did the same thing to my mother and father. You ain't slick.
When
I don't know what they doing wrong.
When I tell you that, when it comes down to my son, I'm like, G, I am you.
Mhm.
I was like, so anything that you like, and it's funny because my dad said the same thing to me and my mom. They were like, yo, whatever you've done, I've already done. So don't try to fool me. You know what I'm saying? I get it to my son too, and just like me, he's gonna try.
Yeah.
But I actually talked to him just like 2 days ago. I asked him, I was like, do you think I'm strict? He goes, yeah. I was like, really? He said, yeah, but you have to. I was like, why? He said, because if not, I'll be out of control. I was like, so you understand it's for a good purpose. He's like, yes, sir. I was like, all right, cool. And then
He 13?
Yeah.
Oh, he'd have been here before.
we
Say, I'd be out of control. He know that much already? He been here.
Man, listen, because he like anytime I'm awake, he gets away with a lot more. My wife, not saying like she's not doing a good job because she does a phenomenal job, but it's
Shout out to
just
Tier.
it's just mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? Mom's more lenient, so he's gonna try hard on mom versus with me. So that's all it is. It's a balance. The yin and yang. You know, you can't have two strict parents.
Nah, it's always like that when the mother and the father, because I go through that with my girl granddaughter, you know what I'm saying? And the dogs. You know what I'm saying? They know who don't fuck around and who does, you know what I'm saying?
No, I wanted to just speak to that for a second and staying true to the topic of us healing. There's a level of healing that has to take place in order for you to be transparent, with whoever, but especially, I'm not a parent, but there's a level of transparency that I see in my friends and my siblings that and as well as being a kid to a parent, there's a level of transparency that must take place in order for you to reach that person, that kid, that's you. Sometimes my nieces and my nephews and even some of my friends, kids act a certain kind of way, and my friends be going off and my siblings be going off about it, and I'm like, yo, that's so you. Like, I have more understanding and tolerance for it because that's like, I've been friends with, I've known you my whole life, so I know how to deal with them now. And even when it comes to my own relationship with my parents, there's a level of transparency that my mother has that allows forgiveness versus than my dad had that caused separation and distance. Accountability is so important. Accountability is transparency. Can't be out here expecting your kid to be perfect if they're saying that you're not perfect, but it's okay for you to not be. And the only way for you to grow is to go through something. And we hold, I've seen it, people hold their kids or others to this level of expectancy that reaches beyond humanity sometimes. Like you're dealing with a human. Understand that first. Before you start dealing with your boyfriend and your girlfriend and your wife and your best friend and you're dealing with a human. And when you make that decision again to do that, then you have to be able to be honest with yourself through transparency with yourself. Sometimes we reject things about ourselves. And then it's offensive to the other person. And it's coming off as pride. But you ain't even really did no self-introspect. You know? It's like, wait, how the fuck am I saying this and you ain't saying this? Like, are you crazy? Or am I crazy? You know, and with my mom, we can just talk. We can talk, and I know my mom, she first of all, she just won't cry because that's who she is. She's emotional. It's not that I'm saying anything that's so harsh or anything, but she's just gonna cry. I was talking to her last night, and I was like, Mom, why didn't you do so and so? And they know mom. Like they know mommy. And I don't know when she's crying. I'm like, I sat there and listened. I was like, I cut her off. And the Academy Award goes to. Like, girl, I don't need you know, mom, like what? Like, but she was accountable. You know what I'm saying? And there's a conversation, like we can talk. With my dad, I start talking to him and there's everybody else. It's like, okay. Like, you know, and for Black men to be honest and transparent and growing up in a society where it's said that all he gonna do is lie. He don't talk, and when he do talk, he lying. And you know what I'm saying? Like to be able to talk, Nate, to your kids, and you know, even to your boys. Every time we're talking to our boys, they're not giving us a pass, ladies. They're not giving us a pass. They're definitely not. So, but guess what? We can talk to them. Don't miss out on that. If I can't talk to you, then that may not be my fault. It's not that I'm quiet. I just don't have a safe space. And that's something to look within for, ladies, and understand that. You know? Communication.
The biggest part of it. You know what? So one of my past relationships, I had a communication issue where I'd say something. You ask me, hey, you want to go to the movies? I say, sure. What does that mean to you all? I say, sure. If I say sure to you, what does that mean? Let's go, right? So I'd say sure to her. She's like, oh, well, don't do me no favors. Sure, I mean, but it's a matter of it's the communication. She spoke a different language, but she spoke English as well. Her upbringing from this household over here compared to my household over here, we get two understandings of the different. The communication, so totally different. So you got to keep that in mind. That everything that is you say that you might be speaking like that dude to you, someone yelling at talking to the girl, whatever. She might only understand yelling. That's how she speaks. That's her language. Him, he speaks calmly. And her not understanding is like, this is him constantly trying to speak to you the same way, but you never going to understand it until, I guess, he jumps out there to speak to you the way you want to speak to you. But then when the guys do that, you said it, being emotional. I get to be emotional. Now I'm an angry Black man. And I thought he was about to put his hands on me. You got neighbors stepping outside to try to look at them. It's just a matter of trying to be able to communicate with people. That's it. But people don't want to be They don't want to listen. It's a problem. They want to be heard.
Want to be pacified with the truth. Listen, I don't know if you done some shit. Well, I don't listen. I don't feel like I gotta pacify or like ease into telling you that you wrong as fuck. How do I calmly say, hey, listen, buddy, you were wrong for that. That ain't how your wrong is gonna come from me.
I'll show you the proof, and that's gonna be the problem. You're wrong. His proof right here. Look, it's already in his life. That's bad. That's the problem. Then
you got to understand when you're talking to an individual. You already said it. From her household different, his house different. You got to find the kind of way to speak to somebody.
Absolutely.
Because as much as you are frustrated and like, yo, it's common sense or it's logic. It's logically speaking. You're not speaking logic. You're speaking feelings. You got to understand how to talk to that. Like communication, you got to understand how to communicate to that individual to where they not only are receiving what you're saying, but they're also understanding it. Because like if you raise your voice, your opposite get too high. Like My old lady gets mad at me. She starts turning up and yelling. I hear nothing, and I just drain everything out because I'm like, I don't deal with that. I don't deal well with somebody yelling at me like that. It's like I let it go. I don't say nothing, and then whenever everything's calm and I feel like it's a good time to talk or not, it might take a day. It might take 3 days.
Right.
But once it's calm, you know what I'm saying, everything's kind of leveled out, then it's like, okay, hey, we need to socialize, we need to speak, we need to talk. You know what I'm saying?
We need to talk, right?
Yeah.
We need to
Yeah,
talk.
we need to talk.
But okay, so in that, I think that, and I hear you and I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But I also appreciate and I also hear that you still allow that space for her.
Yeah.
And you then, because you're now, you're so at ease with who you are,
Right.
that is not a threat to you. That's not, you know what I'm saying? Like there's an understanding there, you know, because again, I don't know how to tell you that you're pissing me the fuck off without like you're not going to always be able to have it all. You're not going to be able to do something and then say you need to watch how you talk to me. You gotta, there has to be this give and take that we were talking about nature, understanding when to hold and when to fold. And you know what I'm saying? So I hear that as well. I hear what you're saying, but I also hear that. I also hear that you allow a person to have that space. And it's not to say allow a person to be reckless and disrespect you and do all of that stuff. But understanding that if you've done something, again, going back to accountability, be accountable enough to say, you know what, this probably pissed this person off. Instead of being oblivious or acting oblivious. And you know, motherfucking why would you know?
But see, like I said, that's a part of healing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Keep it all into
Yes.
the topic we're talking about.
Yes.
You know, hey, we're right here. We're right here. But no, that's also part of healing because like when you're hurt, your first response is to fire back.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you feel like you're on the defense and you feel like you got to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get past your ego, once you get past what hurt you, then you realize, okay, hey, there's many ways to compensate. There's many ways to communicate.
And understanding boundaries and
Right.
and your points.
Boundaries.
Those points that's going to tick you off. You know, that's going to your triggers. Right. You know, you gotta understand those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's gonna keep y'all from, you know, blowing up and going to that next level.
Mhm.
Yes.
Boundaries.
Yes. Boundaries.
Gotta
Boundaries, y'all.
Stay fair.
Boundaries. All right. We have a couple more questions, or a couple more things that we're going to just dive into. Bobby, Nate, you all want to jump in before I do with anything? I know I asked you the question about G, but I wasn't sure before that if you had thought of anything that you wanted.
I honestly don't think about stuff.
Okay.
I just go with it.
I'm with it, bro. I like that freedom. I'm with it. All right, I know that you have another one, so I'm gonna jump into this one and then I'll come back over to you. All right.
All right, no problem.
Listen, PJ, if there's something that we're wrapping up the discussion, Black Men Stop Dating until you've done the work to heal yourselves. If there's anything that you want to leave with the viewers in terms of some work that you've had to do in healing before you move on and deal with, any type of relationship, then, chime in with this.
So I guess my closing arguments would be the things I try to do is just sit back and reflect on what I did and what I could have done better as a person. And that's that accountability and just also understanding what took place and what brought me to some of the decisions that I made, and just that self-reflection helps me be a lot I guess more understanding and going into the next situation, and that way I'm not going in just doing anything and we can have that level of communication to where I can convey what I'm saying to you, and you can understand it in a way that is not. I'm not just being combative or anything like that. And as long as I get to that point of we have that level of understanding, I think when moving forward, as long as I'm in that right space and we can communicate, everything will be great.
So did you have what did you, and to actually this is the segue into the question that I have here. Like what work needed to be done in order for you to get to that space? Because I want to make sure that we're not just talking at people, but we're talking to them in terms of how to heal. Yeah, we got to the point where this is what we need to do, but what did that look like for you? And I'll read the question and give you a chance to think about your answer, because again, it was perfectly segued. But what I wanted to more so leave the people with instead of a question is, what transparent trauma have you experienced, and not just from relationships, but in life, that you've done the work or are doing the work to heal yourself? And what does that look like? Like, what level of transparency are you comfortable with sharing that you've had to heal from? I mean, heal, not just get over, not just deal with, but heal from. And that level of transparency that Nate was saying, he talks to G. Like, share that with us, any of you.
I think as far as what I kind of clinically gave myself a term as far as dating has been PTDS as opposed to PSD, post-traumatic dating syndrome. Just understanding all the things that come with, you know.
That's a shirt.
That's a t-shirt. That's a shirt, bro.
You heard it first. Ain't gonna
I just look at those things and I try to come to a place of, we all got to evolve and know that no one is perfect. Yeah. And in that evolution, you got to take the time to just, truly know what you want out of life and what you want from your next partner, or what you want going into that next situation. Everybody, it's like playing chess with another person at times, especially when you're dating and you're going into a new situation. So you got to be mentally ready to go in and deal with all that comes with that, and put yourself in a position where, you can come to the table and be, and like how people say, bringing the table, you really bringing the table. You bring in a healed soul. You bring in, a good mind that's clear and able to think about different ideas that's going to be able to expand. Mm-hmm. If this won't be that person you're growing with, then that's going to expand your empire together. That y'all are going to continue to build together, whether you've already established and they've already established, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So it's just, all that comes into a thing where, like, just take that time to just meditate, just really spend some time with yourself and get to know you and get back to the essence of who you are as a person. That way you can be a better person to that next person. Yeah. I mean, if that
No, for sure. And actually, as you were talking, and fellas, don't forget the question. Through a level of transparency, where some of the things, you all, thank you again for joining Mick on the Move for Mick Nation. As we wrap up the topic, Black men stop dating until you've done the work to heal yourselves. As PJ was talking, I was just thinking about Nate. And what he was talking about earlier related to G. And I was just thinking how everything that PJ is saying is what I would want if I had a son to share with my son. Right? All of those things, like the importance of knowing you, understanding that you're more than an expectation. You are made up of a whole lot. You're made up of environments, and you have to be understanding of those so that you're not out here trying to fit in a space that you have no experience or culture in. Understanding that you come from something, understanding that G would come from a two-parent household, and you're going to see life a little different than others. Understanding that your makeup literally makes you up, and being okay with it, asking those questions, giving your kids that space to ask those questions, So that's what I was thinking about, PJ, as you were talking. But getting back to the first part of the question, you all want to answer that? You all want to?
I heard you say giving your kids the space to ask questions or whatever. My daughter, I told Nadia, hey, you can ask me whatever she wants.
Yeah.
I will tell her whatever it is. If she asks me the question, I will give her the honesty.
Yeah.
I have never lied to her, nor do I care to lie to her. I don't plan to lie to her. She would never be able to tell me, like, Daddy, you lied to me. You told me that Santa Claus was real.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I told you Daddy was Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Your mama's Santa Claus. I paid too much. I worked too hard.
Yeah.
Let somebody else, some goofy white man in a red suit, take credit for all the hard work that I do for you to be able to get. No, ain't no Easter Bunny, none of that stuff. I'm not lying to her. I get that honesty to her, so that way she can always, but she could never have any reason to not trust me, even though she doesn't live with me. She lives with her mom. But when she did decide to come to live with me, if she needed to come to me for whatever the case is, and I'm always going to be here for her, I gladly have her here with me if she would love to come to. Now that you're watching, Daddy, hey, I got a room for you. You know it. Come on, come stay with Daddy.
Summer 2023, Naughty Pooh, let's go.
But yeah, I have never lied to her, nor do I care to lie to her. I will be honest with her, and I hope that I'll tell her as well. People are gonna lie to you, but it's up to you to be able to decipher whether you want to deal with these people, deal with their lies or not. But I'm not gonna make decisions for you by lying to you. That's what people do. They lie only because they're afraid of the consequences of whatever it is they're gonna say in their lie.
Absolutely.
And they make that decision for you by lying to you. I say be honest with them. Let them make their own decisions. Even in a relationship, the same thing. If I'm honest with the female I'm dealing with, I let her know what my situation is. I'm not looking to be married. This is my situation. I got this going on. I got that going on. I'm gonna be honest with you. Ask me any questions. I give you my honesty.
Yeah.
And you work from there. Now, if you keep questioning my honesty,
Yeah.
as though what it is I'm saying is a lie, everything I say to you is like it's a question mark on it. You gotta ask me a question back on it. It's like, okay, so you obviously don't believe what it is I gotta say for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You and I are not on the same plane. We're not in a good place right now to actually be in a relationship. We can be friends. I can kind of coach you through this situation, what it is you're dealing with, but we don't need to be in a relationship.
Absolutely.
That's not going to be comfortable for me nor for you.
Absolutely. And only a healed person can stand flat-footed and say that, because some may stay because they're gaining something from that. You know, they'll stay in some abusive type of relationships because they're gaining. Like, it's like, nah, I'm not gaining anything. I'm gonna give you the truth, and the chips will fall where they may. So I appreciate that level of transparency there, B. Anyone else? Nate, Roland.
Yeah, the level that as far as dealing with trauma and realizing, be honest, I'm gonna say my last time being incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? And
I said just speak up. Just
oh my bad.
Oh,
Yeah.
The mic is reading it.
My last time being incarcerated was it was a trauma. It wasn't a trauma that scarred me for life, but it was a trauma it was an eye opener, because your day-to-day life and your activities and whatever you do, you know what I'm saying, and you don't think, but you do think. You feel me? What I'm saying is you subconsciously know that the police ain't shit, you know what I'm saying? But when they pulling up on you, locking you up, you know what I'm saying? Why I say this, because, okay, it wasn't my first time going to jail, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't like jail, you know what I'm saying? That's why I only went twice. But the last time was an eye-opener, because this time I got kids. The first time I went, I didn't have kids. This time, I'm actually got my head on my shoulders, and I was trying to do much better than what I was doing the first time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now it's like getting your freedom snatched away from you and living up in a damn near closet with another grown man who you don't even know. And he could be lying or he could be doing anything, you feel me? Or like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta, I guess, get to learn the person, you know what I'm saying? But not even just the person in your cell. You want a whole unit with other niggas you don't know. Now you might know some niggas from the streets, but they ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, why I'm saying what I'm saying, because it wasn't even that like clicked in. It was the youth. It was the youngest I was seeing. It was like 19, 18, 20, 21, going there for murder, doing this, doing that, throwing their whole fucking lives away. You know what I'm saying? Telling them, oh yeah, they just hit me with like 25, 30 years. They ain't nothing. Nigga, you're 20. you won't get pussy for the next, you know what I'm saying, 30 years, and you think that's okay? You feel me? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
You get pussy, that boy pussy.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But everything was on it. I'm saying, but I'm like, it's just a mind blower because it's like, damn. When I got locked up at the age of 18 and shit, it wasn't that many youngins in there. You know what I'm saying? And then I hung around the old heads who gave me the game. That's why I ain't been locked up probably like 15 years prior to my last time. You know what I'm saying?
Good deal, bro.
But seeing that shit and then looking at these youngins and they, you know what I'm saying? It was that's why I say it was, yes, it was traumatizing because nowadays how the youth mind, how they think and what they think about jail and how they think about life, it's just like they don't give a fuck. They just throw it away, you know what I'm saying? And they not looking towards doing better in the future. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, that's the type of shit that like I had to like, wait a minute, hold on. I gotta sit here, get myself together, get my mind right while I was in jail. So yeah, I fast, meditated, did all of that. You know what I'm saying? Really, you know what I'm saying, got in tune with my spirit and myself. You feel me? Before I got back out here in the world, because all I kept saying to myself was, this is light. You know what I'm saying? When I get back out there in the real world, I gotta deal with bills. I gotta deal with assholes. You know what I'm saying? I gotta deal with all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm still dealing with now, but it's like those youngins, you know what I'm saying, and me, and yeah, I kick game to them, like, you know what I'm saying? Because at that time I was like 30, in my early 30s when I got back. So I'm like, you know, what are y'all niggas doing? Like, this is not the way of life. Y'all should be out here trying to own construction companies. You know what I'm saying? Trying to, you know, own, not even just own businesses, get better careers, want shit in life, get generational wealth, but y'all throwing y'all lives away, you know what I'm saying, behind. And it's scary because y'all heads are so wrapped up into the streets. Y'all don't even know yourselves, man. Y'all on the phone arguing with little bras and shit. That's out here fucking the next man. Soon as you go in, you know what I'm saying? You don't know yourself. You just know what you see, what you've been taught, and they've been told by so many wrong people. These youngers don't even know themselves. You ask them, "Who are you?" And they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm such and such from this neighborhood," but they don't know who they are. You know what I'm saying? And it's sad, and it's really terrible to see that so many young black men go down through the system when black people in this country have had a high ass conviction rate and filling up the prisons since I was a kid. And how we still this damn high on the totem pole. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead.
More visible for it. Hey, if anybody, I apologize, interrupt. Anybody watching this, and I'm not talking about in the chat room right now. Anybody watching this, maybe in the future, it could be years from now. You penalize this man, and you thinking negative on him because he's been penalized or been in the penitentiary, whatever the case my situation might have been. You looking at him, looking down on him because he has been locked up or incarcerated. You are foul for doing so because you have done some things wrong in your life. I'm sure you just didn't get caught. Don't look at him foul about that. He's a good man. He's corrected his life. He's done what he's supposed to have done. He's spent his time. Whether he did it or not, I don't know. But don't judge a book by a cover. He's doing what he needs to be doing in life. Just think about that on it. You've done some things you probably shouldn't have done, and you just didn't get caught. That's the only difference between you and him. Absolutely. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Absolutely. Again, big
Thanks,
up.
bro.
Absolutely, bro. Big ups to all of your accomplishments, bro, and not going back and so on and so forth. And as Ron was talking, I was thinking how someone has to be the sacrifice. Someone has to be the sacrifice, and what I mean by that is he's now taking what he's sacrificed, which was his freedom, which was clearly a traumatic experience, and he's now taking that back out to inspire and give hope. Yeah, we have to realize that some of our actions are sacrifices so that the next generation does not have to do it.
Right.
Everything that I experience now is for my nieces and my nephews and the generations that are coming. At 42, what the fuck am I going to be out here doing? Right? Listen, other than hoping to inspire the next generation. And I've had to encounter all levels of trauma to get to this space here. And that space is only a space of liberty. That's no platform space. That's a space of liberty. And we have to be able to be, going back to Nate's point earlier, communication. You have to be at a point in a place where we can communicate with those around us, whether it be our kids, our family, our friends, neighbors, whoever, because those need to see that, listen, I've already sacrificed.
Yo, my bad, I gotta take it.
You good, bro? I've already sacrificed for that. You don't have to go through that anymore. What's happening is the kids don't know the depth of the sacrifice anymore. So they're repeating it. They're repeating it. And like, you don't have to be. There's a story in the Bible, or there's a passage that things will be restored unto you, but you know the cankerworm, the cankerworms and the palmer worms and all those things have, you know, destroyed or devoured, you know. But we're not looking back because we're told, don't look back, just move forward. But a thing that's restored means that it was once there. It's just coming back. And in order for it to come back, sometimes you have to bring it back. You got to be comfortable enough with your sacrifice so that others don't have to go through it. And transparent to his point. He was like, you know what, this was traumatic. Not until it became trauma for him did he get it. Before it wasn't, it was like, I can knock this out, but then he got kids. It's like, whoa, wait, this just turned to something more serious here. So now he's doing the work. To Bobby's point, you know, you have to encounter something in order to have a message.
You can't have an understanding without a misunderstanding first.
Like you have to. This is what an example of sacrifice looks like. And sacrifice is not perfection. It ain't perfection.
It's not.
People, you know, gentlemen, guys, males, men out there. You know, my desire for this series was to inspire men that you're not alone, and that you have a voice, and that you can heal yourselves, and to teach women that men have voices, that they can inspire each other, and they're not giving all of their homeboys passes. You know, there's a level of accountability that takes place with all of these guys here tonight. Anyone else on that level of trauma, transparency of trauma that you've had to, you know, heal from in order for you to get to the place that you're at now in relationship with anyone?
To keep it quick, only trauma, it's most trauma, but biggest one was also almost losing my marriage.
Almost losing his marriage.
Yeah. So when going through that, it wasn't good, but it was needed, you know, because of the fact that we weren't where we were supposed to be, and we feel like we couldn't get there. But sitting in that funk at the time, it was like I said, it was nerve-wracking. But at the same time, it also started getting me thinking about my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, right? Because a lot of folks be like, you know what I'm saying, they'll stay for the kids, or a lot of folks be like, you know what, I'm not gonna be unhappy just because I have kids. You know what I'm saying? But for me, and I'm going to talk about my side. It was like I was just thinking about my parents. You know what I'm saying? And then I also thought about how my kids would be. Well, my daughter already been through her parents not being together. You know what I'm saying? So, and I seen all the work that we did just to get us in a good space, just between me and her in a good space. And then I was thinking to myself, like, do I want my son to go through that too? You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, I had to do a lot of self-reflecting and start seeing what I was doing wrong or what I could do better. You know what I'm saying? Just like I said, I don't speak on her half because her half is her half, but this is just me.
Absolutely.
So clearly I did something right to continue to be married, you know.
No, for sure, bro.
But that was that's Yeah.
And that's that balance. Like nothing should be bad forever, just like nothing is going to be good forever. So if you all had to have a rocky road in the beginning for it to smooth out now, then that's sacrifice. You have to sacrifice yourself to get to an understanding of the other person. But get to that. Don't let your sacrifice be in vain. Just be out here arguing and staying. Right? Make it count. And actually, I was going to go from there into mine, to me answering that, because I think I said it a couple weeks back. Like, my thing for healing has never been for relationships. It's never been for relationships. Like, in terms of monogamy, it's more so been for healing myself and knowing what to allow and what not to allow in any space that I'm in by any individual. You know, my grandmother asked me, she said, you know, what's the purpose behind, you know, your topic? I was talking to her about doing this, and you know, this whole thing is new to her. And I said, you get on and you do what? Right? So having to explain that, she said, okay, I like it. She said, but like, what's your purpose in doing that? And, you know, and I said, and it was bringing awareness. And I said, I feel like, Grandma, my message is peace. I have a message of peace. And my message of peace is not because everything is perfect. But my message of peace is, I have endured, and yet I've been able to create my peace. It's a message of don't search for it, but create it. Because when you're out here searching, most times you're searching externally for it, where it really lives within. It lives within. You know, I thought that my issues were more geared with my dad, but not even understanding that it was my mom that I really needed to heal from. So growing up, I didn't have the Nate story where I grew up with both of my parents, but I had both my grandparents. Shout out to my granddaddy. But you know. And it's argued whether or not, you know, your parents are the first representation of what this looks like and what that looks like. And there's some truth to it. There's definitely some truth to it. But there's a truth that resonates with me, in which I didn't have, because I didn't have my mother and my father, those two examples of what I was supposed to have. I didn't know how to trust. I didn't know how to trust. I knew that my dad had done me wrong and my mama had left. So I didn't know in relationships how to trust. I was swimming on both sides of the pool, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't know whether dealing with females, I could trust them, or dealing with dudes, I could trust them, because I didn't have that representation of what trust looked like in the beginning from my parents. Now, yes, my grandparents, but a part of understanding and knowing who you are is knowing your parents. Is knowing your parents. When my mom moved in with me in 2020, I had never lived with the last time I had lived with my mom was the age of 4. That's the last time I lived with her. Now, I grew up around her, and I've spent the night in spaces with her in her home, but around my siblings. I never felt like I ever had that moment with my mother to know who she was, other than who I wanted her to be, or I expected her to be, or who I had heard she was. Which most times, y'all, stop listening to people and build your own relationships with people who I heard that she was. And I learned and my siblings would say, just like, Mom, when you do that, my mother sweeps. To my point earlier, I sweep. I'm a very clean, neat person. And and my mother is. And until she moved in and I learned who she was as a human being, more than who she was as my mother, this title that, is put on people, and some live up to it, absolutely. Shout out to the moms. Appreciate you, love you. But mothering looks so different for everybody. And the moment that she moved in here, I was able to love her for a human being and not be upset for who she wasn't. Upset with her for who she wasn't. That ain't never been who she was. You fool. Right? So I have this tolerance and this understanding now because I now know how I've done the work to heal myself to be able to accept people for who they are and not who I want them to be. And that comes across the board. And even a level of, that's a level of sacrifice. That's a level of understanding. Listen, when you deal with other people, there's a level of understanding that has to be put in. There's work to understand people. There's work. And sometimes that work is sacrifice to you because maybe you don't want to hear it. Well, I don't feel like hearing this, but I got to sit here because I want the relationship. Well, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? There's a level of sacrifice that goes into understanding people. There's a level, but and B said it sounds simple. No, it doesn't.
No, that's not what it said.
Oh, you said that?
I said it sounds like simping.
Simping.
Yeah.
What's that?
Basically, if a female, you doing whatever what she wanted you to be doing, basically, just so you can get in her good graces. Acting like, you demeaning yourself. You're not being that alpha male like you're supposed to be. You're letting her take the reins or whatever, just so you can get in her good graces to get whatever it is she wants. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sound like something.
Oh, I got you.
You weren't supposed to hear that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But understanding that, that healing, that they're and I had said this a couple of weeks back, how divorcing the title and understanding that people are humans first. Not to say don't carry titles, don't have titles, don't do all that, but before you buy into those and before you commit to those, not buy into, but before you commit to titles, commit to truth. Commit to truth. And that is who you are. Not who you were told to be, not who you're expected to be. Brad, I need your next question coming up. Or takeaway. Not who you're expected to be, but who you are. Who you are. And I can sit here today and say, I'm healed because I now know who I am by knowing who my parents are. I know who my mother is. I know who my father is. So that helps me have understanding with myself.
I was going to say, I had kind of similar situation as well with my father, which kind of helped me develop and understand myself a lot better. Especially it was at a time when, after my mother had passed, my father, of course, my father hadn't been there regularly, but when he finally got to come around and things of that nature, I got to see, bits and pieces of myself, and got to understand him as a person, and understanding his struggles and understanding where he was at mentally, and not holding him accountable. I mean, not necessarily holding him accountable, but not making him feel
foot on his neck.
not putting my foot on his neck to a point where it was like, all right, well, I'm still angry. I had to let go of that anger. And it helped me heal better because it also was like life gave me an opportunity to learn and understand where I came from.
Yes.
And who I am as a person and where I can be going. I mean, of course, I already knew that prior to me actually really getting to live with him and understand him on a day-to-day basis. But that kind of helped me as a man and as a father. And I was a young father at that time. So just knowing sometimes even the wrong example can be the best example.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, somebody's mistakes or, how they might have, fell off at some point helps you understand how you can do a little bit better, in your own situation.
Sacrifice. Yes. There has to be a sacrifice. And I know we're going to just jump into Rome's last point, but again, just closing out with the discussion with my grandmother, I was saying, like, if my message is hope and peace, bro, if my message is peace, then I want people to know that it's something that can be created. I want to leave people with that. Like, your peace, you ain't got to seek it. You can create it. Because sometimes when we're out here seeking it, we're seeking it in wrong places. We're attaching ourselves to things that, when it's right, it's inside. It's inside. Create it. Tap in. Stay dark. Because the darker you go, the light is an illusion sometimes, most times. The light brings about distractions. It's distractions. But the deeper you go, the darker you go, the darker you go.
Stop it. You trying to say that because you dark skinned.
Hey, shout out to the melanin. Shout out to the melanin. Shout out to the melanin. You know what I'm saying? The darker you go, the deeper you go, then there's truth. There's no title there. There's just truth. So that's what I want to inspire and leave the people with as my closeout. Boom.
All right. The second question is, are we looking for stability or are we looking for convenience in relationships? And not just romance, but any relationship.
Yeah, are we looking for stability or are we looking for convenience? Run around to the convenience store real quick. What you gonna bring back? You know what I'm saying? What y'all looking for? Stability or convenience?
I know early in the heydays it was convenience.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I didn't want to leave my bed alone, so it was convenience. But as I got older, like, convenience comes with a lot of issues. So got rid of convenience. It might got me a sugar mama.
This guy.
I mean, nah, first. I mean, nah, you know what I'm saying.
No,
No. So I went from having I adored the convenience until I realized, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't as convenient. And it wasn't going to help me out later on down the line. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and also it wasn't doing me no justice mentally. So when I got the stability, I don't even think about convenience no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm more so set up with stability because, like, everything's stable, everything got a solid foundation. You know what I'm saying? So,
can I just say something real quick to that?
Right, go for it.
Men, I've learned and I've heard, we want to be mentally stimulated as well. Like, we don't just want one thing from you all. Like, we want to be stimulated as well. Like, and I think that that's something that if we don't get through it tonight, then I want to come back to eventually. Some of the things that men desire from their partner, their girl, you know. And I think mind stimulation is one, and I want to unpack that a little bit because it's nothing more confident sometimes than nothing more sexy than a confident partner. You know what I'm saying? And that's stimulating, and we want to hear your compliments. We want to hear you, but it's a way in how we want to hear. You know, and it's not to silence anyone. It's just to say, like, yo, like, we turned on by you saying certain things to me. You know, we want to hear that because I think a lot of times that's what breaks down the household too. You're not being stimulated mentally. You're going out and you're hearing it from these others. So understanding that, ladies, as well. Again, we may not talk about it tonight, but back to your question. But do you want convenience or stability, bro? Anybody else?
I just want peace.
Why does they just want peace?
I'm not pressed for the relationship. It's not like I'm a grade call me gay. I enjoy the female body. It's been my lifestyle all the way through. Whatever case, it's gonna be what I die. But I'm not pressed for a relationship. I don't feel like we need to. I'm just confused as well. That's my question beforehand. where we got the crazy idea that we actually all of us needed to be in a relationship. It tells you that in the Bible. It tells you a lot of stuff in the Bible. Yeah, man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. It tells you a lot of stuff in the Bible. A lot of stuff that's contradictory to people that say, it's like, what do you mean? It's like, I'm not going to go down that road with you. But for me to decide to choose that that's what I want in my life just because a book says it, or because my mom says she thinks that that was the one for you. You should have got, yeah, she was the perfect one for you. Yeah, mom, you didn't know she was nuttier than the squirrel shit. I'm not getting ready to try to take that on to my lifestyle or whatever because it's going to cause me to go crazy. Yeah. This happy wife, happy life? Nah, it'll make a man insane. It'll make a man go crazy. He'll lose himself immediately off of that nonsense, trying to live that lifestyle. If that's not what he went in there thinking and believing that that's what I'm going to do in life, no, I don't know, not me.
And that's why it's important to be.
Peace.
And that's why it's important to be healed, because it's not to say that we're not going to meet people that's just not for us. It's just that, you know what? We tried it. It doesn't work. I have enough peace. I've healed enough to know that this isn't going to work for me. And I'm going to leave.
It's not like I'm going to count out that relationship. No, let me say that. I ain't counting out any relationship in the future problems or whatever, but I'm not looking to I'm not trying to find one. You are looking for the remote. Where's the remote for this TV anyway? You don't know what a remote is, right? You go find everything else except the remote. That's not what I'm getting at. That's what the subject. That's what I'm trying to say. You go looking for something, you don't ever really find what it is you're looking for. You find everything else except for what you're looking for until you're not looking for it. Yeah. Don't go chasing no relationship or whatever. Chasing this one because she looked like this, or chasing him just because he's over 6 feet and he look this kind of way, dark skin, whatever the case might be, whatever they into. Muscles all over. Cut that out. Find yourself and don't worry about the rest of that's gonna come to you when it's time for it to come to you. If it's for you, but if you try to I want to be married. I want 10 kids. That ain't supposed to be in your cards. You want to put it in your cards. You're gonna mess around and ruin a lot. Not just your life, your kids' lives and his lives as well.
Absolutely. All right. Yes, Brother Nate has a question.
What do you do?
You said you look for peace.
Peace.
Are you healing or are you healed? Because if you're looking for peace, you're still.
The answer is yes. You are never gonna be fully healed. You're always gonna be healing. You will never be healed. If you were healed and you were not in the right, you're not human. There's too much crap going on, especially a black man. Next question. You already know black men already got a whole lot of trouble to be dealing with in life. Outside of just your relationship, it could be work. It could be anything. Just trying to be a man in life, it's so much. So a relationship, you could be healing. You'll be healing your whole lifestyle.
So, in light of that question, does stability bring about peace when you have someone? Does having that stability, rather than like it being convenient and you having this person, that you're convenient, even though that's great, or you can pull from that if you can take that and have some level of stability and have a level of understanding that it brings about that level of peace. And just
the stability works if it's the right one, I believe.
I think every relationship kind of has a season too. Sometimes
it's a season of lifetime.
Marriages when they last, you got a certain amount of time. It might last your whole lifetime. It might only last just a couple of years. You have those seasons with people when you go through those different things that change you and make you make you want to become a better person if that's what you want to do. And if you want to be a better person, maybe that next person comes around and brings about that peace that allows you to want to be stable with them, and in that one particular instance for however long.
It's about self-preservation. Not anybody in this room, not on this, is watching online. Everybody is looking for self-preservation. They want to be healthy and calm in themselves, to be safe, feeling safe, and whatever their situation, whether dealing with dating this person or dating that person, or going this way or taking this job or that, but they want safety. They want that self-preservation.
Absolutely. And I think that I don't know if another person can be your peace. I believe that from experience that sometimes it works. When you see two people working, it's because they have made peace with themselves.
Yes.
And they've come together. They're not looking for the other person to be their peace. It begins with you and it ends with you. It begins with you and it ends with you. Because the moment that somebody else's peace is off and they're your peace, then now you're off.
If Nate was supposed to be T's piece and I decided to pop him right now, you see how much damage I do for T?
See, yeah, because Nate going to jail. Now Nate in jail.
Because she chose to say that he was his piece or whatever, that's not it. You're supposed to have that piece within yourself.
But the views will be up.
So, but you could have peace within yourself.
Yes, that's what you're
Right.
supposed to have. Peace within
Right.
yourself.
Right.
Nobody can be your piece.
Right. But at the same time,
They can add to your piece.
They can disturb you.
no,
They can definitely.
But
They can add to your piece.
I also
PJ was fighting the mosquito.
feel, and we all fighting, so it's
That's
not
the
bad.
world's longest
That's
garage
right.
door. That joke.
It
It sound like my bones, bro.
But you can be at peace, you can find peace in yourself, but there's more. In my
Share the
opinion,
peace, bro.
In my opinion,
Share
there's
the
more.
peace.
There's more than just peace.
Yeah, well, there's more than just peace within myself.
No, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So like,
But doesn't it starts with you though?
oh,
First.
yeah, it does. But like, my wife is my peace. You know what I'm saying? So I know I got my peace within me,
Right.
Mhm.
but my wife is my peace because when I'm home and we're
Mm-hmm.
together, it's just like
Mm-hmm.
there's no other place that I would rather be.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
right,
the
You know what I'm saying? Not saying that there's times where we're off,
right.
but at the same time, she's never defers from being my peace.
Yeah. No, I could get.
You know
I
what I'm
get
saying?
that for sure.
The moment that I feel
For
this
sure.
is snake talking.
Okay.
Okay, but I feel like the moment that she's no longer my peace is the moment I no longer desire to be there.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because even though there's arguments and that's life, nobody goes through life perfect.
Yeah.
I used to think my parents went through their marriage perfect, but on the low, they was arguing back and forth, but we've never seen it
Absolutely.
until I got older. I was like,
Shit.
my mom's like, we all the time.
Yeah.
But
All the time.
But I tell you what, have my mom and dad have their balance be off to where like my mom's just like, yo, I'm out of here, or my mom or my dad is no longer my mom's piece.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think they'll be together, but they bring peace to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So if
Because
I
they're
can't,
bringing it to
if I
each other.
can't go like,
Yeah.
and it's and what thing about it is it's to even go beyond like a marriage.
Mhm.
It's just like a friendship on my
Absolutely.
partners.
Yes. Yes.
If I'm dealing with you and like if we hanging out and it's constant turmoil,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
dog, we're not hanging out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if I hang out with you and the vibe's good and we get to confrontations, but we're like, hey, we can still overcome it like cool. Hey, I understand, cool.
Yeah.
And we sell everything, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And everything stays that way,
Yeah.
then we gonna rock for until the wheels fall off.
So is it safe to say that she is? I'm not and not discounting what it is. Just saying that she's being your piece, she's being your piece. But it's not just that she is your piece, but maybe that because she understands what it is you need and how she brings you peace as well. Like she knows this is what he's expecting. This peaceful to come back with bringing him this nonsense is not peace. It's not worth. So she understands that if she brings you peace, that's what you mean as far as her being your piece. In other words, it's dealt two pieces on it. Look, that's another way to look at that word too. She brings you peace. That's your peace.
No.
That is your piece.
She's my peak, but like it's not because what she brings. Like it's not because like when she comes home, she's like, hey,
Mhm.
or like everything's cookies and cakes and
Mhm.
that's not it. It's her presence, just her being. That's it.
Yeah.
Like even when we beef and like you know what I'm saying, like we beef because it's in our DNA. It's just natural to sit there and have a disagreement. You're not gonna agree on everything, but even when we're beefing, I refuse to sit there and be like, yo, I need something else.
It's because you understand that you know that piece is not good. That
That's
little beef is not getting ready to end it
Right.
all.
Because that's my
yeah.
because like regardless do it, that's my piece. It's just like that's like that's my that's everything.
Yeah, I chose each other.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
that's what I was
it's-
thinking. Choice. Yeah.
It's a
for
choice
sure,
at the end
bro.
of the day, because I mean, at the
For
end of the day,
sure.
you can always waver, and if you decide that y'all going y'all separate ways, that's that choice you made. But you made a choice to be in that marriage, and y'all are standing on it, and that's why it brings you peace because you have that stability that we were talking about. You don't got to worry about where she going. You don't have to worry about who she on a date with and who she called. And that brings peace to a man. You know, when you know where your woman and that she's there for you in case of anything falls down, that brings you peace.
Yes. And I think that when a person has peace, they want to offer. They want to extend it. They want to extend it. She's happy. She's what, and I don't want to get into who she is, but when you're happy and you're pleased and you want to, like, they got you, you got them.
Mm-hmm. You want to give them the world.
Like, yeah. Like, we here, we got this, we good. Type of thing. Roman.
Peace. No.
Stability.
Oh, all right. Right now in my life, I would say stability because my man Nate was saying, it just feels good to just have that person, you know what I'm saying, with you. It just feels good to have that one partner you can trust, you know what I'm saying, ain't gotta worry about BS.
Yes.
And when you work and build on it, you know what I'm saying, because in the past, I've never put forth effort in a relationship, you know what I'm saying, like, they was always convenience, you know, some pussy, whatever, you know what I'm saying? My baby mother's was convenience, you know what I'm saying? So this is why, like I said, I didn't make the best decisions when it came to having kids with these women, you feel me? But since I'm now I know what it's like to be in a real relationship without the constant, you know, BS, like everybody, like you said, we go through our ups and downs, but at the same time, it's not as much, you know what I'm saying, as my past relationships where I was only looking for convenient pussy, you know what I'm saying, I really didn't give a fuck about too much, you know what I'm saying, as far as them or whatever, as long as you gave me what I was looking for, you know what I'm saying, going on about your business, you know what I'm saying, so I tolerated and I indulged into more bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Because my whole game, like I said, I was only out for one thing. Now, fuck the pussy. I need my peace, you know what I'm saying? And if you ain't bringing it here, and if we're not trying to work the shit, then that's what's the now it's all about stability, right? You know what I'm saying? So to me, I'm cool with the stability. I like it. This is my first time having it, and it actually feels good to just be like, kick your feet up and ain't gotta worry about no bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Unless, you know, I
don't like that time wasted either, man.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Man,
you want things to be right too.
Listen, just to be able to let your guard down. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to be able to let your guard down because she ain't out here doing anything. I ain't gotta worry about those things. Like, so for sure, right?
Especially when you gotta keep it up when you walk through the threshold in the outside world. You know what I'm saying? And because I've also been through that, you know, I'm fighting the world. Then I got to come home. I got to box my kid's mother. And it's just like, you know, it's been times where I had to hop in the car and go way the hell out in the woods somewhere, you know what I'm saying? Smoke a J, listen to old school music just to bring my mind.
You know what I'm saying? Get over a lot of issues. Like,
it's the starter package.
Right.
I was just
you gonna hold
that shit coming to clutch.
Mary Jane is the perfect side woman. She gonna get your mind right. You go like, I can deal with her now.
Hey, do you feel like you bring peace and stability to your relationship? Do you bring peace and stability, or do you bring strife and confusion?
Me personally, I believe I bring peace because my girl don't have to worry about. For one thing, she ain't got to worry about me chasing chicks and shit like that because I don't look at.
You say she don't got to worry about it, but does she worry about it?
She don't. That's what
I want to say.
So I don't know because you got like in the back of the mind, anything a guy says to, I don't want to say anything any guy says to every female, but most cases you're saying something to them, you're giving them your truth. It goes there's a question mark behind it. They want to know. They got more questions. Make sure that what it is you're telling them is the truth.
And that's why it's so important, you all, real quick for this topic. Stop dating until you've done the work to heal yourselves because listen, if you're not healed, then you're going to second guess. You're going to question everything. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I didn't know which side to trust because I didn't have that first introduction to trust. So I had to create it. And now I know how I deal with others based off of my level of trust within myself. So heal yourselves so that you can trust. Heal yourselves so that you can trust. Heal yourself so that you're not second guessing everything, because that's exhausting to anybody. Okay? Go ahead.
Nah, what I was saying, remember I don't think you was here the first time I came on here, but I said I learned to set boundaries and be upfront in my relationship or any relationship. You know what I'm saying? Of who I am, and this is what, you know what I'm saying, I come with. And if you're willing to deal with me, then that's cool. If you're not, then, you know, I ain't holding you hostage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So with my girl, well, a little backstory. She's known me, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, this is his sister, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm also best friends with their younger brother. That's how I came about. You know what I'm saying? So she's known me for some years. You feel me? But at the same time, we ain't never like clicked like this. So anyway, long story short, I've always been this person. Like, she's seen a little bit of me, but being in a relationship with me, I'm still the same person. You know what I'm saying? She has known me to be back then. It's just that we are intimate. You know what I'm saying? And she knows a little bit more deeper things about me and just seeing me as, you know what I'm saying, her brother homeboy. You feel me? So if I'm sitting there, because I talk shit to people, you know what I'm saying, randomly, out in the streets, you know what I'm saying? But I've always been like that, you know what I'm saying? So when I'm out in the street, male, female, it don't matter, you know what I'm saying, man? That's how she's like, I'm always the same person everywhere I go. You feel me? So, to be honest, if I can, it's like, I ain't doing nothing, you know what I'm saying? But if she really feels that way, and this is why I constantly be like, yo, you need to go on the show, you need to get yourself, she need to help herself and get better. And I constantly drill that in her head and work with her on that, you know what I'm saying? And basically, because I know she's been through her BS, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, here I'm coming into this relationship, you know what I'm saying? Working on myself and constantly working on myself. Yeah. And to this day, I still work on myself, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not just in the relationship, it's other things I deal with, family member, friends, shit like that, you know what I'm saying? That I'm constantly, like I said, dealing with. So the negativity or whatever they come at me, you know what I'm saying? Friends want to get you caught up in BS and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? That's just stuff that I have to work with. But as far as with her, I mean, I show her, you know what I'm saying? And that also goes to, I think a lot of times we show people, you know what I'm saying, the way then they get a better understanding instead of just talking to them, you know what I'm saying? Absolutely, and
especially women.
Yeah.
I want to hear what you gotta say, prove it.
Right.
And then it's prove me wrong.
Yeah.
The bar is set for wrong. You know, the word.
But yeah, for the most part, that's your question, you know what I'm saying, man? I show who I am. I'm always like this, you know what I'm saying? The good and the bad, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, if she feel any type of ill will, you know what I'm saying, that's something that she has to work on. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm so glad that you said that, because oftentimes we hear, oftentimes we hear you send your representative first. Mm-hmm. You send your representative first. Not all the time does that work, because I feel like when you begin to say that, then a person who is being authentic and real and healed and can be who they are, you're side-eyeing them and you're second-guessing them because you have this notion that this is just a representative. Mm-hmm. This is just a representative. And allowing, you know, there's this thing called intuition. And being able to rest on that and not just words. Not just words. Words matter some, but they can get in the way. And when we begin to hear what people say about everything, this is a red flag, that's a red flag, this is, that is, this is, that is, this is that, this is that, that is this, then sometimes there's little space for intuition. You know, and your intuition may tell you to leave when everyone else is saying stay, and vice versa. it may stay when everyone else is telling you to listen. So understand, to get to know the person, recognize the spirit for what it is, for who it is. You know, not everybody is sending a representative. Some people is just they're
I
here.
can't afford a representative. I can't afford it. I'm gonna give you my honesty off the break. You don't like it, I wasn't meant for you, I guess.
And that's, ladies and viewers, that's a healed person. That's a healed person. That's somebody that has done the work.
Yes, I am.
That's someone, accept me for who I am. You know, and if I'm not that person, then you are now accountable to leave. You're accountable to now leave. Stop sticking around and not being accountable to your part in dysfunction. I don't care who you are. Stop sticking around and not being accountable to your part in dysfunction. If it's not working and it's not getting better, then you have to do something about it. And the best thing to do about it is to heal. Heal together, heal separately, but heal. All right? Anybody?
I threw it off to asking that question as far as because I don't know if everybody else got to answer your question, your last question you was asking. But I think I kind of threw it off by asking that question as far as people.
I mean, I think it all tied in together. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. So, we'll make sure everybody got a chance to say what they need to say.
I'm a headache. And I say no. I say no because you're talking about what do you bring? Are you? What did you say?
Are you her
Sure,
peace?
you bring it.
Bring
Right.
in peace.
Right. I definitely bring her peace, but I bring her a headache as well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Balance.
Right. That's just what it is. So it's yeah. I just want to say
If
that.
you bring in a headache, you better bring in a medicine to take care of the headache.
Oh, no
too.
doubt.
That's
No doubt.
In order to be the peace,
Yeah.
you realize that's, in other words, realizing that you're a headache and you need to dial it back and try to kind of, all right, bring this back around or whatever kind of. Yeah.
And that's what we were talking. Yeah.
Yin and yang. Where
Yeah. Absolutely.
that's all it is. It's with our peace. I mean, there's always going to come. I don't want to say war, but it comes argument. It comes
Conflict.
right. I say conflict. Yeah. With peace comes conflict, but there's always a resolution out of it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just.
Absolutely.
It's not conflict and just
constant.
conflict and conflict.
Yeah.
A little bit of peace, but conflict.
Absolutely.
The peace outweighs the conflict. Thank God.
Absolutely. Should.
Yeah.
Should.
We've been on the opposite side, but we got to where it's like
Absolutely.
peace and conflict.
Now, just on that, Nate, was there a level of what was the level? Because of course there was a level, but what was the level of work that needed to be put in for you to get to that place? Outside of okay. Now, what is it? Give us share with
I think that's
the world.
I think I probably said it was. I had to realize that I
Get your headache. Okay.
no, yeah.
You said
Yeah, no, I didn't know, but I had
West Side Motor.
I honestly had to realize that my way is not the only way. You know what I'm saying? I had to realize that I can't speak to my wife the same way I speak to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like even beyond that, like, I can't speak to Bobby the same way I speak to you. It's because y'all two different individuals. You know what I'm saying? So you might be able to take my humor. You might not. You might question, but no, it's all good. I'm sure. But in my marriage, that's what it was. It was I was so not. I was so used to being on the defense, and I was so used to just being like, "Is this gonna work?"
Yeah.
I'm so used to being like, "What are my parents gonna think?" Because I'm like, because my parents are like is big to me, so
Yes.
they've been through all the marriages, the failed marriages and failed relationships. They've been because me and my mom we talk. And so they've been there. So it's just like that's always like a but they don't think now, So I had to get out of my own way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And actually kind of just let her take control. You know what I'm saying?
Was that you being vulnerable? Bro?
Yes.
Yes.
So by taking control, I mean by
Yes.
by me being vulnerable and just
Yes.
okay, let's see what she's gonna say or
Yeah.
versus me like, nah, it's
Yeah.
you know, and she said that plenty of times, but we were not communicating in a sense. So just like but we got it so fine. So yeah, it took a lot. You know what I'm saying? Marriage is not for the weak. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like it's gotta be this way, and if it doesn't start this way, don't even think, nah, it's not for you. You know what I'm saying? Or not for you at that time.
Yeah.
You know, because I got married, my first marriage, I was young. I was 21. Yeah, and I wasn't ready to be married. Neither of us were.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yeah, so if you're not willing to put in the work, because you're not gonna agree on everything.
Yeah.
But if you're able to sit there and honestly take an honest look at the situation, not only look at what she's doing that's throwing you off, but also look at what you're doing to throw it off.
There you go.
Then yeah, you just need to look for convenience.
Yeah.
Versus stability.
Yeah. Listen.
All right. Anyone else?
Because you fellas have heard it first.
Anything else that
Y'all
y'all
want to leave with the viewers?
She said, give us an example.
I just did.
And he definitely, yeah, she probably.
I just did, Keisha.
All right. Anything else that you fellas want to leave with the viewers tonight? Special co-host.
You want to say something? Go
Oh,
ahead.
me?
Yeah.
Oh. So to the viewers, you know what I'm saying? I mean, know yourself, you know what I'm saying? Take the time out to know who you are and really, really, really know yourself, because you can't bullshit yourself. And I think that's where a lot of us go wrong at. We bullshit ourselves. If you're a person and you like cake and you say, oh, I'm not messing with that, and lie to yourself, just be honest and be like, yo, I like cake. I'm going to try not to eat it. You know what I'm saying? So that way when you slip up, at least you say you try. You feel me? And I think a lot of people, even myself, that's why I came back to the jail situation, you know what I'm saying? I had to stop bullshitting myself. I used to be in there telling myself, I ain't gonna get no more guns. I'm not done with, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I got locked up for, dealing with guns. You know what I'm saying? And then I just was like, man, fuck this. I'm lying. When I get out, that's probably one of the things I'm gonna go get. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of had to stop bullshitting myself, you know what I'm saying? And just because how the law proceeded me at having a gun, how I looked at it having a gun was totally two different ways. I wasn't going out here trying to rob and do all kinds of crazy shit to people. But I do know I live in a wild neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? And shit can go down at any moment. So with that being said, I had to start bullshitting myself, you know what I'm saying? And once I did that, I got like my mind got clear, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't in doubt, you know what I'm saying? I felt like God knew I was bullshitting myself when I was in there like any other nigga in jail. I ain't gonna do it when I get out, I'm gonna change my life. No. I said, I'm most likely gonna get me another gun, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna do it smart this time. And so, like I said, once I stopped bullshitting myself, you feel me? Right. It got better. You know what I'm saying? It's like my head cleared. I was able to, you know what I'm saying, do the shit that I was able to do the things I said I was going to do. And when I came out here, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about a damn gun when I came out. I came out and got on my A game. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I said, I stopped bullshitting myself, long story short. I told myself the deep down truth. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what a lot of people need to understand. Is like, you can't lie and bullshit to yourself. You bullshit me, you bullshit everybody else, but you can't lie to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And that's it.
Yeah, for sure. Pete, anything you want to leave with the viewers about the work that needs to be put in to heal yourself?
These closing remarks.
Needs to close their remarks.
He gave me the producer.
Wrap it up, B.
I I guess in finding what you want out of life, that kind of bring you back to bring everything full circle. I mean, of course, like you said, you gotta go through it to get to it, basically. So all the things that you've gone through in those situations in your life, gonna take those. It's gonna chip away at you as a being a work of art. Like you're being God is an artist. Like He putting all that all these things on it to help you evolve and become a better person. So we got to continue to take those signs and build on that within our ourselves, our relationships with our friends, our relationships with our children, our relationships with our significant other, whoever the case may be. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to bring you the peace. And then you going, when you find somebody that you truly want to build your life with, like Nate has. I mean, and I've had those, some of the situations, but at the end of the day, you're gonna stand on it, and you're gonna work on making it better. It's not gonna just be my way or the highway. I gotta work with this person. This is like, my coworker. Like we gotta work together and make this thing go in the right direction. So if we not on the same page, it's not gonna work right. Yeah. And we gotta definitely still understand that. Of course, I'm not gonna say that it's gotta be a power. The power has to be defined in that situation. I mean, we gonna be, like from back in the past, like if we gonna do things like how our grandparents and parents did, we gotta live by those rules. And as a man, we gotta come to the table, put together, and doing what we gotta do, and do all the mental healing, do all the spiritual healing, and do all the things that is required to be a better person for the next person that we end up being with. And we're going in a transition to being in another relationship. If we're in a relationship, just continue to build and grow, and y'all have to build and grow off each other, and that's going to help leave that legacy that you want to leave for your children and so on and so forth, because they're watching and they're going to learn from all the good and the bad.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that was 1 minute and 50 minutes.
I'm going to hit my little church bell. All right, Nate, and then B, and then we out of here. You all, thank you again, everybody, for joining Mick on the Move as we wrap up the series Black Men Stop Dating Until You've Done the Work to Heal Yourselves. We're going to grab these 2 closeouts, and then we're going to exit stage left.
All right, real quick. Earlier I said brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth, bro.
Now, no, it's not. So
A
what
little
I
bit.
really meant is like brush your shoulders off. You know what I'm saying? Acronym of brush. B, believe in yourself and be truthful with what you do. R, learn how to receive criticism.
Oh yeah.
Because without receiving it, you're just gonna self-destruct and you're just gonna destroy everything around you because you're gonna be offended by it. Understand the moves that you make in your life and the consequences that come with it. S, try to be greater. Each and every day is a different day. Be better than the day before. And H, help. Don't be afraid to ask for it. I lost too many people, okay, because they were afraid to ask for help. So please, if you need help, there's people out there, there's phone numbers you can call up to get the help you need.
My man talking. My man talking.
So that's what I'm saying. So
yes,
brush your shoulders off. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Stand up straight. Be confident.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's what I meant. Not your breath. Those smells. You know what I'm saying? This smoking black clouds.
I don't.
Yes. Me, what you leaving the people with? What you leaving the viewers with, bro? From the series.
Don't be afraid to be you. Just be honest. Just be you. Be honest. And it's everybody for somebody. If you're really looking to be in a relationship, there's somebody out here for everybody. Just be honest to yourself and being you. Somebody's gonna like it. Somebody's gonna like it. You saw Miss Pearly in Friday After Next. So you got the mustache lined up. It's like, I know somebody that like it. Yeah. Somebody's gonna like what it is you got to offer. Just be you. You can't be somebody else, because if you ain't somebody, you're gonna be somebody else who's gonna be you. they ain't gonna find you when they're supposed to. Be yourself. Be honest to yourself. Don't lie to people. That's dirty. That's foul. That's trifling. You gonna lie to somebody you don't want to be lied to. You gonna lie to somebody else. Be yourself. Give them that honesty and let them make them decisions for themselves. If you respect them and you love them, you'll do so. If you respect them as a person or as an adult, you'll do so. You will let them make them decisions themselves and not lie to them. Just let them make the decision themselves. I think you feel a lot better with yourself. You realize the only real reason people decide to lie is because they're afraid of the consequences of the truth, of what's going to possibly happen. Don't be afraid of those consequences. Just do what's right and you know what's right. Everybody here knows what's right and what's wrong. Do what's right and you know what's right, you ain't going to have no worries. You was honest with yourself, you'll sleep better at night.
All right, you heard it first. My 4+1 crew
I
tonight.
like that, bro.
Listen, y'all. Thank you to the viewers. Thank you for the co-host. Thank you for Kisa, baby, who's not with us, but she's our 12th man in the comments. Thank you for the commenters tonight who subscribed to the 4MIG Nation YouTube live channel. We're coming back in 2 weeks with the new series, and fellas, it's going to be Black women stop dating until you've done the work to heal yourselves. We started the season with the fellas, and we're going to continue on the topic with the ladies. So please subscribe if you haven't yet. I believe all these fellas here have subscribed to the channel, and be a part of the topic next in a couple of weeks, so that we can then learn from the women and watch them be inspired by each other. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. You got us live. We out.
Oh, yeah, I can't even like this, John. Where is it? What like it? What like button?
Yeah.